My name is Jan Hatcher, and I'm on the Health and Wellbeing Committee, along with Gary. And it was started back in January 2011 by Tabitha Hochscheid, when her colleague, Ken Jameson, committed suicide. And he chose to take his life in May of 2011 after a 6-month battle with depression. And he was doing all the right things. He was receiving help, he was exercising, he was working on his sleep, and still he just couldn't handle it. At the time, he left 3 wonderful children and a loving wife, and Tabitha was absolutely shocked and haunted because she had no idea she had a colleague that was in such pain. At the time, Betsy, his wife, donated $25,000 for the education of mental health issues, and especially depression, anxiety, many of the things that are known for our profession. So the committee, in these past years, we have offered peer-to-peer support. We do a monthly column, and we have our monthly or our quarterly Balanced Living series lectures. And we invite you to visit the website. All of the things that we have presented to date, you can access and see by video, and they're really helpful. Suicide is the 3rd leading cause of death among lawyers, and they are 3 times more likely to be depressed, twice as likely to abuse alcohol or other drugs. And I recently read an article, and it contained a somewhat famous definition that I'd never heard of about depression by Rollo May, which is depression is the inability to construct a future. And if you've ever struggled with depression, this might resonate with you, because it certainly did with me. You know, we are in a profession that takes a lot of mental energy, whether it's depression or not. So often you keep your head down and go day to day, project to project, step by step. And so often I think we forget or we lose the ability to lift up our heads and actually look towards a future. And there's a lot of tools that can help us do that, to have a more balanced life. And Gary Powell here, he is general counsel for Emery Oleochemicals, and before that he spent 20 years in private practice litigating. Also an adjunct assistant professor at the University of Cincinnati. And in 2005, Gary began meditating, and by 2011 was facilitating meditation workshops. And he's currently creating a series entitled Legally Mindful, of a series of meditations. So we are so very happy to welcome you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. I appreciate it. Well, it's been a long journey for me, and I want to share a little bit of that with you. And so, you know, my goal in the last several years has been to figure out a way to bring what I see as the benefits of meditation to my fellow professionals, my fellow lawyers, other people in the corporate world, which I am in now. And so I want to be able to start sharing this. And so this is my first real presentation like this, and I appreciate your presence here, and let's go forward. Okay, you see a lot of talk in the current world about the benefits of meditation. You know, the corporate world is embracing it, Google and some of the other Silicon Valley places, and not just in Silicon Valley, but throughout the country, people are adopting this, you know, centuries-old method of mindfulness practice. And, you know, there's a lot of things that are put out as being benefits of meditation. You know, stress relief obviously is critical, I think, for lawyers. You know, but things like, you know, just happiness. You know, meditation is seen as a good vehicle to happiness. So we'll talk about some of the processes, hopefully, that you can use, some of the tools that you can use to help get you a little bit better shape. So here's some of the real, I guess, proven benefits of meditation. You know, things like reducing pain, provides a sense of peace and balance. That's kind of important in our profession. Reduces pain, increased blood flow, increases energy, helps reverse heart disease, helps control thoughts. As an attorney, I think it's helpful to kind of provide a case, if you will, some persuasion about why meditation might be needed and about some of the things that meditation has been proven by scientific studies to do. So let's start with some of the same things that Jan was talking about a moment ago as far as addiction. 20.6% of screening positive for hazardous, harmful, and potentially alcohol-dependent drinking. That's a large percentage, 1 in 5 of us, attorneys. Men had a higher proportion of positive screens, as well as people early in their professional life. Respondents 30 years or younger were more likely to have a higher score than their older peers. And actually, the incidence decreased as the attorney got older, the percentage. And finally, the levels of depression, anxiety, and stress among attorneys were significant. 28%, 19%, and 23% respectively. Those are high numbers. Now, I'm not saying that meditation is going to be a cure-all for all of these problems in the profession, because obviously these are societal problems as well as just within the profession, although our profession seems to hold stress and maybe not deal with it quite as well as other people. And part of it probably is the way we think, the way we approach issues. So one of the research findings that I like is the fact that meditation has been shown that it may be associated with structural changes in the area of the brain that are important for sensory, cognitive, and emotional processing. And that's kind of cool. You know, it used to be that people thought, or scientists thought, that your brain was static, and that all it did after you reached about 20 years of age was it deteriorated, and then you died. Well, now scientists talk about neuroplasticity, so that your thoughts actually change your brain. And that's part of what my method, if you will, I don't want to call it my method because it's just not my method of meditation, but what I'm going to be talking about today, by using your thoughts, by directing your thoughts, you can help change your brain to have a different outcome. Okay, so meditation experience is also associated with differences in the default mode network. Basically, our default mode is stressful, mind-wandering. Part of our primitive brain deals with the fight or flight response, that we're always, we're on guard. The phone rings, you wonder who it is, you kind of tense up. That's not good. But meditation has been shown, again, it may help deactivate that default mode network. And that's kind of a cool thing too. Okay, so again, scientific studies that show that this has the potential for decreasing that default mode network, which is generally a mind-wandering kind of process. Oh, I guess I didn't turn the slide quick enough, sorry. So you'll get it. I think everybody's got the slides. Okay. So then you have the relaxation, response, and resiliency training, which is a specific method of meditation practice that was developed by the Benson Henry Institute for Mind-Body Medicine at Harvard. And by practicing this, they saw the potential for a very large savings in healthcare costs. So if you're running a law firm, you're running a corporation, you want to try to reduce healthcare costs, meditation is a good program to adopt to try to get people to, to practice so that your healthcare costs can go down. And besides the cost savings, obviously, it's an important factor for their morale, for their approach to life, frankly. And finally, this is from the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health. This is part of the federal government's research arm that looks at areas that are outside the traditional medicine area. But this talks about some of the safety and side effects of meditation. Generally, meditation is considered to be safe for healthy people. The third bullet there is if you do have mental health issues, please let your mental health facilitator, counselor know that you're thinking about going into meditation practice so that you can work with that person, because sometimes in meditation, emotional scars from the past or emotional issues come up and you want to deal with those on a professional basis. I'm not a counselor, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not trained in the mental health field, so don't rely on anything I have to say today as a diagnosis or something that's prescribing a particular avenue of treatment for you. That's kind of my lawyerly disclaimer, okay? Okay, so a little my background. Back in, I graduated from UC Law School in '84. I was in a private litigation practice from 2004 to 2007. 2007, I went out on my own. I then, in 2008, started doing some contract corporate work, and I guess they liked me so much that they brought me in full-time in 2011. And so I've had experience in several different areas of the law now, and so hopefully, with those different experiences, I can provide some guidance for you. I guess if I get here, catch up here. I started meditating in 2005, as Jan said. My practice was very irregular. My practice consisted of sitting down, trying to clear my mind of stuff without any training. Okay, I didn't find a guru or a meditation helper of any sort. I just kind of started doing it on my own. I read about it, but I didn't have really anything of a formal practice. And it was, I did it here or there. When I did it, I enjoyed it, but I just didn't set aside the time that really helped me establish a meditation practice to get the benefits that you can acquire out of meditation. Don't get me wrong, I think anytime you sit down with your thoughts and let them go for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes or whatever, that's a good thing. But it's really a good thing when you start that practice and have it on a more regular basis. So in 2008, I came across this audio-based meditation practice or technology from the Monroe Institute. I was intrigued by the program because they have 6-day, 5-night programs down in Virginia. That beautiful area, mountains of Western Virginia, and just a beautiful area. You go down there. I had a number of deaths in my immediate family in from 2002 until about 2008, including my sister. I lost to breast cancer in April 2008. And I just heard about the Monroe Institute like 2 months before she died. And I thought, well, I want to go down there. I didn't know much about it, but I want to go down there and kind of just see what, the dedication to meditation for a week would do for me. I had a lot of questions, and I went down there and I liked it. There's no dogma associated with it. Meditation is typically seen as kind of a Buddhist practice from from thousands of years ago. But the Monroe approach is just, you have your own experiences, and whatever happens is yours. Okay, you don't compare yourself to others. It's just what happens is yours. So I like that approach. I also like the approach that they use technology in enhancing your meditative experience or getting you into a meditative experience quicker. So since 2008, I've attended annually a week-long meditation program. So apparently, I think I'm getting something from it. So it's a week out of my time, and it used to be that when I went down there, I'd be gone for a week, and I'd tell people, I'm just going down to Virginia to see some friends. Not saying I'm going down for a meditation retreat or anything like that, but just going down to see some friends, and I had no idea who was going to be there. I'd go down typically by myself and know that when I get done with the week, I was going to have a lot of friends down there. So I wasn't lying. I was going down there to meet some friends. But, it was one of those things that I didn't share with people because at that time, even 10 years ago, you got looked at. I was worried I'd get looked at funny. Maybe that was just my own, self-conscious approach. But, you thought that you'd get looked at funny. Now, my goal is to turn that around. That if you don't meditate, you might get looked at funny. So let's talk a little bit about the technology here. Oops. Oh, well, let's talk about Monroe Institute first. It's a nonprofit organization that has a professional division. If you look at their mission statement, they advance the exploration of human consciousness. That's pretty cool. And the experience of expanded states of awareness as a path to creating a life of personal freedom, meaning, insight, and happiness. I mean, if you can meet that mission, that's pretty cool. But they do have a professional division that includes researchers, practitioners in the field of mental health, and educators of various kinds. So the Monroe Institute's been around since about 75 or so, and they've had research that's gone in that's utilized their technology in classrooms and hospitals, with veterans, with people like us. So there's some scientific basis to their program. TMI does use the audio-based meditation program. As I said, they have residential workshops in Virginia, And now through outreach programs, like I'm an outreach facilitator, they have programs across the globe. So they are spreading the word across the world. So some about their technology. You know, the old story was that, you know, you're either right-brained or left-brained. You know, attorneys typically are very analytical, very logic-based, very left-brained. I know I was. And you may miss out. Some people are lucky they share, you know, both sides. And this isn't a strict dichotomy like people used to think. You do have cross purposes between the brain, but it's kind of a nice way to look at it, is left brain versus right brain. So the idea behind meditation is that you actually are able to link up the left and the right brain a little bit better. So someone like me, who's very analytical, can now become a little bit more creative, a little bit more in touch with myself. You know, for guys, that's kind of a tough thing to say. I'm going to, you know, get in touch with my feelings, but it's kind of important. Okay, so the goal is to link the two sides of the brain. Now, this is just a slide that shows the 5 different types of human brain waves. And for each of the patterns here are basically the speed of the wave. The slower is for like sleep, which would be delta. The next one is theta, which is more for where you're at for meditation, where you create your memories. Alpha is the middle one, which is for a little bit more just relaxation, not quite deep meditation or sleep. Beta is where we typically are during the workday when we're working on something. It's kind of our normal level of consciousness. And then gamma, which is kind of a new kind of wave, because gamma rays used to be, until fairly recently, I don't want to say gamma rays, that gives it the wrong impression. Gamma waves used to be fairly hard to measure in a brain until increased tools were found. And now it's thought that this helps in areas of insight, peak focus, and expanded consciousness. So, the 2 different types of technologies that the Monroe Institute uses is, one's called hemisync, which is short for hemispheric synchronization, which again deals with getting both hemispheres of your brain synced together. They use binaural beats for that. I won't go into the technology, but it's a pretty cool process. SAM, short for spatial angle modulation, uses the movement of sound. The hemisync waves allow you to get into the 4 lower classes, if you will, the delta, theta, alpha, and beta. The SAM signals includes the gamma state, which again is a state that's thought to include, you know, higher focus, higher creativity, things like that. So I consider the SAM technology to be kind of the next generation of the sound technology for meditation. So again, you've got the brainwave states. The signals here take you to those particular brainwave states, okay, so that you don't have to spend 15 years meditating to get to a nice theta state. The signals help get you there, okay? So the goal, again, is to get the synchronized brain waves that are most beneficial. Now, gotten through all the preliminaries, let's now talk about some of the things that I've learned and some of the things I want to share with you, okay? So first of all, your thoughts are very important. You know, it's the way you approach things. You know, if you think that meditation is hard, it will be. Okay? If you think that meditation is worthwhile, it will be. Okay? So it's how you approach things. And that's not just for meditation, it's for pretty much anything that you approach. You know, I don't want to say I'm a, you know, goody two-shoes or a, you know, somebody that sees the world all the time through primrose glasses, but, you know, it's just like your thoughts guide how you react to things. And if you see something that's positive, you're going to react differently than if you see it as something that's not helpful or that's just a waste of time. And I know many attorneys, including me, before I started using the sound-assisted meditation, couldn't find the time to set aside to do meditation. Now with the sound-assisted meditation, you know, I'm able to do that just because I've seen the benefits to myself. Okay? So if you approach meditation with an open mind, In other words, I know others who have seemed to have a positive impact with meditation. I know meditation is said to have great mental health and physical health benefits associated to it. I wonder if it would work for me. Just that curiosity. That's very important. So let's see if it will. I mean, that's what you have to give yourself that chance. You have to see that as something, at least with an open mind. Not, like I said, if you go into it negatively, that it's not going to work, it won't work. So meditation is about experience. I can tell you about mine. I've had very positive experiences using meditation, and I feel it's improved the quality of my life and my work. I've not had those experiences by reading about it or listening to people like me talk about it. Although I have done a good bit of reading about meditation, about states of consciousness, about a lot of things associated with meditation. I've read a lot of scientific journals, articles about meditation. But you have to have the experience. You can listen to me all day and you don't get any, meditative experiences. I cannot promise you that meditation will work for you or that you'll see any kind of improvement in your life as a result of meditation. Okay, I also cannot promise that my method of meditation is going to be right for you. There's a lot of methods of meditation, and this is one tool, one way to get into a meditative state. But it may not be yours. I mean, it may just not resonate with you. It may not be helpful to you in the least, but it may be. I can provide my insights and some tools that I think might be helpful, and that's, I guess, why we're here today, is to maybe, you can pick up some nugget of truth or some nugget that might be helpful for you from being here today. So audio-assisted meditation, typically you use headphones or earbuds to listen to the exercises. The audio mix within the exercise would help get you into the desired meditative state. In other words, the exercises can take you into a relaxation state. They can take you into a creativity state. They can take you into a high focus state. So the waves help get you there, so you don't have to worry about spending your time practicing to get there. It kind of is kind of like training wheels. It gets you there. You're always in control of your exercise. In other words, if you're having a bad experience that you don't want to deal with at that particular time during the meditation, shut the exercise off. You'll return to your normal waking state of consciousness and continue your day. Okay? You also can, vary the exercises. In other words, your mental state during the exercises. In other words, if you're, these exercises are very guided for the most part. And so if you want to go a different way, if you're, got a different kind of train of thought, you can do that. So you're always in control of the exercise. With practice, and this is the cool part, with practice and by getting used to the feel of that particular brain state, it becomes easier for your brain to get back there. Okay, again, these tools, these audio-assisted meditation tools, are just kind of training wheels. The goal is not that you be tied down to an exercise to be able to get that positive benefit. The benefit is once your brain knows how to get back there, you can utilize that state in your waking life without being directly connected to the exercise. So over my years of practice, I can be in court, making an argument in front of a judge and, just take a breath, and I'm in a more relaxed, focused state. But that comes through practice. But that's the whole goal, so that you can use these outside of your little meditation den or whatever, that you can actually use these benefits in the real life. Okay, I've broken down the approach into primary tools and secondary tools. Holly and I we discussed long and hard how to describe these, because if you call them Series 1, Series 2, it makes it seem like, or beginner and advanced, it makes it seem like the first set of tools that you learn aren't that important. Attorneys don't like to waste a lot of time, so if they see Series 1 and Series 2, they're going to go right to Series 2. And you're going to miss out on a lot of the basics that allow you to actually make benefit out of the other sets of tools. So awareness of monkey mind. The realization is that too often we don't control our thoughts. Our thoughts control us. Research suggests that upwards of 50% of our waking time we're thinking about something other than what we're doing. That's where that default mode network comes in. Where it's thinking about this, thinking about what happened yesterday, thinking about what's going to happen next week, but not being able to concentrate or stay with your thoughts that can allow you to be productive now. Okay? So modern technology is a big part of that. Obviously, it's part of our base, part of our brain as well, but modern technology does not help that. And that we have frequent activation of the fight or flight response when the phone rings, when an email comes in from that attorney that I can't stand, those kind of things. You tense up, your stress level builds. You spend time catastrophizing. You get a call from your senior partner or your, the CEO, and they say, I want to see you in my office. And you're not thinking, oh, I wonder if he's going to take me on the golf outing next week. No, you're thinking, what did I do wrong? What went wrong? What am I going to have to fix? What does this mean for me in my career? All these kind of things can come up in your mind, which don't necessarily have any relation to reality. You also have negative self-thoughts and doubts. Am I good enough? I can't really do this. What am I doing here? And again, those are probably not based in reality. You've made it through law school. You've gotten employed by a firm or a public service corporation or a for-profit corporation, whatever. You've made it through that far. You're probably a pretty decent person too. So the self-doubts and things like that are often a waste of time. You have to be realistic with yourself. Maybe you're not meant for a particular job, or maybe you're not meant to be the first chair in your, a big, corporate litigation case in your first year out of law school. Okay, but the negative self-doubts, the ones that aren't grounded in any reality, are problematic. And we too often judge ourselves and others. You see somebody with a particular look, and you have a particular, without thinking about it, it's an unconscious thought, that might not be helpful. Maybe they're just having a bad day, and you put something else on them that's not fair. Or judging yourself, Okay, maybe you screwed something up, but it's an easy fix. And if you just approach it with a level of confidence that you're okay, you can do that. And that's based on, this is stuff based on a study from two folks at Harvard. So relaxation and awareness. Relaxation is the most basic meditation tool. Okay? That sounds pretty simple. Typically, you reach that relaxation in meditation by following your breath. You feel air come into your nose and then let it slowly leave your body. When you follow your breath, you relax automatically. You can do it now. Just close your eyes and think about, feel the breath coming into your body. Take it in deep, and then just slowly let it out. And do that a few times. And there's no way, if you're actually paying attention, not thinking, what the hell am I doing this for? If you follow your breath, you will relax. The problem is that at least at the start, it's normal to have other thoughts enter your brain. Like I said, why am I doing this? I'm sitting here listening to this guy speak about meditation. I could be billing or doing something else that's productive. But during meditation, the goal is to allow those thoughts just to go through you. So with practice, you learn to accept those thoughts and let them go without judgment. In other words, you don't judge the thought or yourself. Too many people think I'm failing because I'm letting these thoughts intrude into my meditation practice. It's going to happen. I've been doing it for 10 plus years, and this morning, for example, I thought, well, before I come down here, I had to do meditation, kind of just relax, and my mind was going. I slowed it down somewhat, but because there was something big coming up for me today, I wasn't able to get to where I wanted to be, but it still was an improvement from where I was. But again, with practice, you can just let those thoughts go, and then continue following your breath. And again, the more you practice this, letting your thoughts go, the easier it will be and the less those thoughts will intrude. Okay, sometimes people say just by being aware that those thoughts are coming up, and by you releasing them, they come up less often. Okay? It doesn't have to be hard. Okay? I tell people meditation shouldn't be hard. If you're trying, you're not doing it right. Okay? It should just be an easy release of the thoughts that come into your brain. Because the goal here is to allow the following your breath to be effortless and non-judgmental. Okay? You want to be able to teach your body, to teach your brain to release those thoughts automatically without trying to force anything. If you're trying to force anything, it's not going to be very easy when you're standing up in front of a judge when you just take a breath, because then you're going to be thinking, okay, I got to get rid of the stress. No, that's not the goal. The goal is to just learn to do it automatically. Taking a breath and breathe out that stress. And with practice, it's really a cool thing because you don't try. It just happens. You've trained your brain, you've trained your body to release that stress when you have that conscious intent to take a breath. And even when I'm speaking up here today, on the top of my outline, I've got breathe and I've got flow. On other ones, I've got slow. Because those are just conscious reminders of me. I don't look at them much, but my mind sees that on there, and hopefully it slows me down because I have a tendency, I love this stuff. When I get excited about it, I tend to speak because I really want to get all the information out because you got to hear it all. But I try to slow myself down. Hopefully I'm doing okay with that today. But and just to breathe, because you do want to stay cool. And a lot of times people say, well, don't you lose your edge through meditation? I mean, you become so soft and happy and just, you can't be an attorney with that kind of attitude. And I say that's not right. Because Phil Jackson is a good example. Phil Jackson was coach of the Bulls, coach of the Lakers. He has 11 championship rings as a coach. He used meditative practices for his players. He may not have, early on at least, said these are meditation practices, but he did use the relaxation, the focusing, the visualization, things like that for the Bulls and Lakers. They did pretty well. I don't think they lost their edge. Michael Jordan, he was kind of good. Kobe, not bad. So you don't lose your edge. You become actually more focused. You don't mess around. You don't have to pay attention to all the stuff that's coming and saying you can't do that, you can't do that. Okay? So as you become better able to relax and release your thoughts, you'll become aware of and appreciate the silence between those thoughts. You'll have less of that monkey mind with just all the constant chatter. You'll actually be able to be aware of the chatter, realize the chatter is going on, and just allow that chatter to calm down. And then you find the silence between those thoughts. It's very helpful for creativity, for whatever. Just relaxation is not a bad thing just to get out of meditation. So you become aware of how often these intruding thoughts are about the past or future and not about the present or the now. And that's where we operate. We can't make a decision tomorrow. We can't make a decision yesterday. We only can make decisions or change things in the now. And with our brain, if we shut down that default mode network, even silence it a little bit, we're able to be more present, be able to operate more in the now than we would have been with that going 100 miles an hour. So you'll become aware of that space between a stimulus and a reaction. If the phone rings, you don't have to let your brain go into that fight or flight mode and have your heart start racing and become worried about what it might be or something like that. You can just kind of, oh, phone's ringing. I think I'll answer it. And that's a big thing for stress relief. So you'll become aware that you can take control of your actions to everything that happens in your life. I said you can't control everything that happens, but you can control your reactions. So when you have the ability to see that stimulus and that reaction and know there's a space there, that gives you the ability to operate, to make a decision, to not just automatically react. And in a courtroom, that's a great thing. If the other side says something that's highly objectionable, you don't just automatically object. You might think, okay, and it can go very quickly. Your brain operates really quickly. Okay, I don't want to object there because Or, or I don't want to react to show the jury that I think that was a big point. So, again, it's just, and a lot of people just have that naturally, but, you just, again, you see that stimulus, you see that space, you see that reaction. And once you start being able to understand that space, you can control your reaction better than you probably can right now. So the goal is to learn to accept things that are out of your control. Okay? And it's important to point out that acceptance and resignation are two completely different things. Okay? If you have an auto accident, or let's say you're stuck out in the mud somewhere, you drive off the road, you're stuck in your car in the mud. You've got to accept that just happened. You can't change that. You don't become resigned to the fact that you're stuck in the mud and you're just not going to do anything about it, but you accept the fact that you got stuck in the mud. You can't change it, so why get mad at yourself? Maybe later, once you're out of the mud. But, you can't change that. So accept the fact, then take action to correct what may have happened or to alter what may have happened or what the continuous sequence of what would likely happen if you didn't stop it. But again, you've got to accept that something happened. You kind of take responsibility. Well, this happened. In law firm, if you've filed something wrong or you've put something in the memo that shouldn't be in there, okay, I did. But now I can control my reaction. I can react positively. I'll take care of it. Something like that. But it's a lot easier to accept it and then go on rather than just become resigned to the fact, well, I did it, I'm a terrible person. Okay? So again, acceptance and resignation are two entirely different things because you can't change something if you haven't accepted it. Just a typical, I think it's a fairly straightforward concept. If you don't recognize it as and accept it, then you can't change it. Okay, in the relaxation and release, there's this concept of a mental body scan. So while you're in a relaxed state, you conduct a mental survey of your body. So you become aware of the feelings in your body in the present moment. Okay, I usually start at the top of my head and with my eyes closed just kind of survey my body. Just go down and see, for example, where I'm holding stress, which for me is typically behind the shoulders, the lower back. And I'm aware of that. I'm also negative emotions. And by being aware of that, then you can consciously allow your body to release your stress as you feel more relaxed. And again, with using the audio-assisted meditation where you're not worried about having to get into that relaxation as much, it kind of helps guide you there. You can actually, by doing the body scan, it's easier to release that stress then. Okay, you're not worried about, okay, am I in this state where I can do this? You can just release that stress, and it'll become more and more automatic as you do that. So with practice, it's easier to allow your body to simply release the negative stress. And I say negative stress is because all stress is not bad. Without stress, I had a lot of stress this morning because this is a big presentation to me. And that's a good thing. It's kind of getting your game face on, getting ready to the pregame jitters, if you will. If I come in here with flat emotion, that doesn't probably pretend for a very good presentation. Okay, so I say negative stress. And I would, I'll try to remember to send people an email, but I think there's a very good TED Talk about your thoughts about stress. And this woman, Kelly McGonigal, has this presentation, How to Make Stress Your Friend. And there's apparently scientific evidence that stress is harmful if you think it's going to be harmful. If you think stress is helpful to you in certain situations, it will be. And it won't have the same negative effects on your body that it would have if you think that stress is going to be bad. Okay? So it's very interesting. For me, the mind-body connections are very interesting. And I use the body scan quite frequently. Like at night, every night when I can, I think about just releasing the stress from my body, going down, doing a body scan, and releasing that stress before I go to bed. And oftentimes, I usually fall asleep pretty well anyway, so I can't guarantee this is going to work for everybody. But oftentimes, before I get done with that body scan, I'm asleep. So try it. It might work. So the goal here is to learn to become relaxed even in a stressful situation without losing your edge. Concentration. The SAM signals can be used with meditation-type music to help move you into a higher state of concentration. I use an exercise that's simply light music and SAM signals that are designed for a higher concentration state. And I do that when I'm working. I have my headphones on, and I like noise-canceling headphones that you can kind of control how noise-canceling they are, just because if I'm in my office, I want to be aware of somebody coming into my office, so I have them on a lower level of noise cancellation. But when I'm at home and I can, get away from things, or if I, lunch and I close my door, I usually have the noise canceling up to their max, so I can't hear what's going on out in the hallway. Now, there is some good and bad about that, because a couple weeks ago, I was in my office at lunchtime. I closed the door, turned out the lights, and I'm sitting in a chair, and apparently I didn't hear the woman who waters our plants in our office knock on the door, because she typically has a practice. She knocks on the door. If nobody answers, she just comes in, waters the plants. Well, she came in, surprised the heck out of me and her. So from my really relaxed meditative state, it was like, but I was able to get back there fairly quickly. But, so if you do use noise-canceling headphones, be careful that you could have a surprise like that. So I use it when I'm reading a complex document, when I'm drafting documents, when I'm preparing for a meeting, presentation, or hearing. So I use the concentration thing a lot when I'm trying to be in a high focus state. And again, the goal here is to remove distractions and allow your mind to be focused in that the higher concentration state. This next one, I don't want to, get you to prejudge anything, but to me, the gratitude, there's going to be a gratitude and compassion exercise. And the gratitude to me and compassion exercise is the one that might be, in my opinion, the most beneficial to our profession. Okay, gratitude, in positive psychology research, gratitude is strongly and consistently associated with greater happiness. Gratitude helps people feel more positive emotions, relish good experiences, improve their health, deal with adversity, and build strong relationships. Gratitude is a way for people to appreciate what they have instead of always reaching for something new in the hopes it will make them happier, or thinking they can't feel satisfied until every physical and material need is met. Gratitude helps people to refocus on what they have instead of what they lack. Regardless of the inherent or current level of someone's gratitude, it's a quality that individuals can successfully cultivate further. And although it may feel contrived at first, this mental state grows stronger with use and practice. Okay, this is from an article, Giving Thanks Can Make You Happier, again from some researchers at Harvard that deal with positive psychology. So that's gratitude. Then compassion. Compassion is an emotion that provides a sense of shared suffering combined with a desire to alleviate the suffering of others and to show loving kindness to those who suffer. Okay, and the benefits are very clear. And so I use an exercise that I'm calling heart-based gratitude and compassion. And this is an active experiential exercise that's taken from my own meditation practices and workshops I've attended in the past. Back in 2009, I attended a program called Heartline that was focused on, your heart energy, and going inside yourself to kind of figure out, why am I not open? Why am I not this? Why am I not that? But I really like that heart energy. And I think the gratitude and compassion is something that all attorneys, and again, it's probably more of a, guys will probably be more resistant to this than women will. I know I was at the start. But I think it's very helpful. So this exercise incorporates expressions of gratitude and a traditional loving kindness meditation where you send well wishes to yourself and others. So, again, as the researchers say, that sometimes this can feel a little bit contrived when you first start doing it, but it's actually very effective. And so everyone will have a different experience using this exercise, And no two experiences for the same person will likely be the same, but they do kind of build on each other. And sometimes when you're sending loving kindness thoughts to yourself, it might be kind of hard. But keep doing it. But feel how you feel your body's sensations when you're doing it, because it's very helpful. And again, I'm not a psychologist, but there's a lot of good positive psychology research out there that talks about the benefits of extending gratitude and compassion to yourself and to others. Yes?
So a lot of the initial focus is on, breathing and then clearing your mind. So is that first level as opposed to this being more second level in terms of where you're actually trying to bring specific thoughts within your mind?
That's a very good question, because I thought very long and hard about calling compassion and gratitude as part of the primary versus secondary tools. Because you're exactly right. The first several exercises with the primary tools are very relaxation oriented, to quiet your mind, to allow the thoughts to just leave, to allow the stress to just leave, and learn how to do that. This compassion and gratitude exercise, I think, has a lot of the same stuff in it. In other words, by releasing your stress, by releasing your thoughts and things like that, you're better able to extend compassion and gratitude to yourself and to others. So it's really a mix there, but a very good question, because I spent a lot of time figuring out whether to put it in the primary or secondary. But upon that, let's go to the secondary. Thank you. Nice lead in. Okay, secondary tools. These exercises are meant to build on the experiences you had using the primary tools. And again, the primary tools shouldn't be short-shifted. They should be, they should be very important to your meditation practice, because they get you ready for these secondary tools. The SAM signals, again, will help help you to relax and release those extraneous thoughts. Again, though, with practice using the primary tools, you're getting your mind and your body better able to get into that relaxation state quicker and to release those thoughts a lot quicker than you probably would have. So you would be guided into these exercises, but you will be active in the sense that you'll be asked to set an intention for the exercise. You'll be led to a creative and highly focused state by the SAM signals, and you'll be given the opportunity to work on a particular issue or concern while in that state. So again, meditation, for most people, see it as being a very passive thing. You get quiet, you mind, you enjoy the bliss of the silence and all that, and that's all great. But as an attorney, again, I wanted to find something that was something I could use in my practice, not only to relax and relieve stress, but then also to get myself into a more creative state. So we have what's called a creative space exercise. This exercise will allow you to take an issue in need of a creative solution or approach into a highly focused state. And again, with the SAM signals, as I said before, they have the ability to get you into a gamma state. And frankly, this will probably be a fairly light gamma state. In other words, the lower end of the gamma range, because the higher end, unless you've used it in other meditation practices or have gotten there yourself, monks typically operate in the gamma state because they've gone through meditation for so long. They get what's called gamma synchrony, and they're able to live pretty much in gamma. Most of us, if any of us, probably can't do that. But this creative space and the next exercise will both have a little bit more gamma in it that will help get you into that higher focus and creative state. So in this state, you'll be able to mentally consider questions regarding an issue that you set before you go in there. You can guide your own thinking down a particular avenue, and you can release your preconceived ideas and allow your creative juices to flow. And we'll talk about kind of how you do that in a moment, but just see, this is what it should allow you to do. This exercise will allow plenty of free time to explore the issue uninterrupted by verbal guidance. So the first several exercises in the primary tools are a little bit heavier guided. These latter exercises will be less guided. It'll help get you into the state, and then you can use that free space to work on your own issues. Now, one thing I want to caution people is I don't want these exercises to become crutches, thinking that you can definitely be creative in using these in being attached to these exercises. Because again, these are just tools. They're kind of like training wheels. They get you into that creative flow state, and then you can, again, hopefully, with practice, be able to get back there and use that when you're not attached to the headphones. Okay, we also have what's called a meeting room exercise, which you have the ability to visualize how you want a particular meeting, presentation, or argument to go in a creative and highly focused state. That's what I used this morning getting ready for this. In this state, you will be able to mentally consider questions about the meeting, presentation, or argument, kind of visualize. I mean, a lot of golfers now visualize on the golf course. And there's nothing, inherent to golf. You can do it, getting ready for a meeting or an argument or anything else. I used this kind of approach when I was getting ready to talk with the head of the Monroe Institute about licensing the SAM technology last year. You kind of get in this mental state and you kind of envision what's going to come up in the meeting, issues that might arise, and you allow yourself to be open to allow yourself to figure out what's the best approach. It may not be what you originally thought going in. So to me, it's a neat exercise, a neat opportunity. So let's now get in, as we're losing time here, some of the helpful hints for these secondary tools. First of all, you make these exercises your own. There'll be some guidance to get you into the exercises. There'll be some suggestions about how you can use them. But as you gain experience using them, feel free to adapt them to fit your own style. Like I said, you can use them for just creative space or preparing for a meeting. Doesn't have to be law related. Obviously, if you're having problems with your son or daughter, you can think, I need to find a creative solution to deal with this issue. For anything, you can use these. That's why I say these are sent out right now for lawyers under the Legally Mindful name, but they're for any kind of purpose. I recommend keeping a journal of your experiences. Often the most beneficial insights come when you're either writing down something from the exercise or when you're reading your notes from it. My experience with these, what I'll call higher level exercises, are that you sometimes feel like you got nothing out of the exercise until maybe the next morning you're in the shower and you have this big aha moment that, it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So don't expect, that you're going to have what you think is a great impactful experience on each time you do one of these exercises, because sometimes, like I said, they come kind of in drips and drabs. So during these exercises, you may click out and feel like you've slept through part of the exercise. Again, in my experience, you've not lost that time. There's something beneficial probably going on in the mind while you're in that creative state that you may, again, not figure out until the next day or even later that day. And when you're journaling, even write this down. I clicked out, and I only got this far or something. Because again, that might help trigger something that, I didn't remember that. But, again, I think journaling is very important. And you may receive information in many different forms. Some may be visual, like you're watching a movie. I happen to receive things in the form of a download of information. It's kind of like it's hard to explain in the 3D world because your brain operates differently. But you kind of get a packet of information that you kind of have to unfold and, understand and bring it back into the 3D world. So you just be open to the kind of information you might get. You might even get humorous information or a humorous approach to giving you the information. So be open to that. And it's typically better to go into one of these exercises without expectations or any preconceived notions about how the exercise will go. Again, be open. That's the biggest thing I can say about meditation, is be open to the experience. But it is best to have an intention before the exercise starts. In other words, if you're going to contemplate writing a brief, or how I'm going to negotiate a contract, or a meeting, or a presentation, have that intention set beforehand. Because again, you set that mental intention, it kind of gives a roadmap, hopefully, for your exercise to develop. But on the other hand, if it goes a different way, let it. Maybe there's an interesting path that you hadn't thought about, or that might be more important, whatever. Oops, go back one. Okay. And I guess I covered that. Yeah. Okay. So these exercises are tools that should allow you to use meditation in practical and beneficial ways for enhancing your life and work. It takes practice, but even from the start, you should feel benefits. The more you use these exercises, the more comfortable you'll be, and the more you'll be able to translate the benefits into your life. And remember, this is all about your experiences. Okay, but your experience will be guided by your thoughts. Go into these exercises with nothing less than an open mind, maybe even a positive outlook. Okay, because again, if you feel like it's not going to work, it won't. If you feel like it might, it might. Okay? We're a couple minutes after 1. If anybody's got any questions, I'd be glad to try to entertain them. If anybody wants to stick around after this, we can obviously chat a little bit. There's a lot of information there. I could go on, for hours about this. I wanted to give you at least I think the handout's probably, helpful to take along and to kind of, go back through at some point. But we're hopefully going to be releasing this. There'll be information on the website and on social media about this. But I think it might be helpful to you. Like I said, I can't guarantee that my method's going to be helpful for you. I do think meditation would be helpful for anybody. But that's up to you. It's about your experiences, not about what I tell you might work. So, anything? Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate your attention, and good luck.